About a year and a half ago, right in the middle of the winter break, it became painfully obvious that the V70 wagon's stock horns were far too mellow and far too quiet to be effective noisemakers at highway speeds. My brain got to thinking, and soon after, the Angry Horn Project was born. Inspired by the Screaming Banshee horn controller, I came up with a design that would allow a delay between the horn button press and a louder secondary horn engaging. And I put together a control circuit. I bought a $15 air horn kit from Harbor Freight Tools for the prototype, and I installed it on the car. Everything was great, until it wasn't. The original horn controller took the form of this monstrosity right here. I'd call it 1/4 core circuitry, 1/4 customization options, and the remaining half is a pile of fail-safes and last-second patches to combat some rather persistent gremlins and instability. The core of the circuit consists of these two 555 timers, one here and one here. This one is responsible for the delay between horn button press and secondary horn enable, and this one over here is responsible for pulsing the secondary horns on and off if that option is selected. Power supply consists of a 9-volt linear regulator, originally with these two little capacitors, one for input, one for output. The output one supplemented in parallel with this gigantic one to cut down on some noise that was causing instability. I included several customization options, first of which would be two of these dip switches, allowed the delay to be bypassed, and allowed the pulse on-off of the output to be bypassed. For timing adjustment, this white potentiometer would control the delay of the first stage, and these two white and blue potentiometers would control the pulse width and pulse frequency of the output stage. To aid in troubleshooting, I included 3 LEDs, a green, a yellow, and a red. The green would indicate that the unit had received signal from the vehicle's stock horn circuit. The yellow would indicate that the delay had expired and the secondary horns were now enabled. The red would illuminate when the secondary horns were actively sounding. This design had a frustratingly elusive glitch where the output could briefly blip on when the horn button was first pressed before the delay had expired. This would cause a friendly honk to turn into a rather terrifying honk because the loud horn would engage when one did not intend it to. This did not happen every single time and would immediately go away as soon as I removed the unit from the car for troubleshooting. Adding this gigantic filter capacitor on the power supply and this orange film capacitor on the output 555 timer helped the problem a little bit, but did not solve it. Eventually, I had to put this third relay in to prevent the output from energizing until the delay had expired. As you can see, it was needlessly complex and introduced further points of failure. And speaking of failure, this thing stopped working when I needed it most less than a month later. I never quite figured out why it had the glitches. I have not yet taken the time to figure out why it stopped working, because frankly, I am tired of fighting with it. So, that goes out, and the new one comes in.